Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Chad Porto. Fresh off of a long week. We took Monday off because it's Labor Day, and I needed a fucking Labor Day. And joining me is my glorious co-host who benefited from the night off, I'm sure. Mox Green. Marcus, how are you?
Yes, sir. Doing good. It's gonna be a hell of a show to say the least.
It's going to be a hell of a week because tomorrow we're reviewing Starcade 99, Zach and I. Plus, we're going to have any updates on the leading story for today's show, which we'll get to. And then Thursday, we're reviewing. Oh, holy shit. We're reviewing the season finales of Killjoys and Dark Matter and talking about some Dark Matter nonsense that'll just make me angry.
Yeah, getting back off into Preacher.
Yeah, Preacher's just whoa, oh boy. The Tick, we're going to see how that one's working out for us. Plus, we're going to talk about the biggest news out of the comics and sci-fi news this week. And we're going to review The Phantom, which I've already watched 3 times in the last month. So, haha, another excuse. I
Yes.
I know everyone says, well, I've literally seen that movie 100 times. If there's a movie I've seen 100 times, it's either Turtles 1 or The Phantom. Leading candidates for the movie I've watched the most times. That and Remember the Titans. I used to be able to quote that some bitch, line for line, scene for scene. And my favorites are always when it's the Bertier family, like the mom. You've seen that movie, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, hundreds of times. Yeah.
Fucking love that movie. But like, it's not the line, but it's how she says it. It's when Gary's like, "Oh, mom, go down to wherever Julius lives and play some basketball," and she's like, "You're not going down there." And Gary's like, "Mom, just get to know him." And her reply, it's not funny, but it's how she says it that cracks me up every time. She's like, "I don't want to get to know him." It's like, God, did you have to hit every T that specifically hard? Like, holy, I didn't know there was a long form version of the of that letter. Like, fuck. Ugh. I don't want to get to know him. Ugh.
Or that conversation between Julius and Bertier. I'm supposed to put myself out there for the team. What team?
No, I'm going out, gonna go out there and get what's mine, man. That's why we're never gonna win.
Feels like that's the most selfish attitude I ever heard.
My favorite line is still when the cop pulls up. You go to TC? Yes, sir. Play defense, right? Yeah, yes, sir. Hell game. Thank you, sir. Go get him, boys. Thank you. Hey, man, your taxi cab had a siren.
Or when or when Sunshine took Peter and them to that bar, he was like, "Hey man, I don't think we need to go up in here." And he was like, "We don't serve your kind. You boys want something? Y'all go out back." And they went outside like, "I didn't know. You didn't know? I told you. What you talking about? You didn't know."
Donald Faison. I love Donald Faison. Faison. He's so good, especially in Scrubs, but he was great in that too.
He was.
I love that movie. All right, next SportsCorp we're talking about Remember the Titans. Just because it's that fucking good. Like, I'm not a big Disney guy, but that movie, oh, are you blind, Alice? Can't you see that's my brother? Ah! All the emotions. Speaking of which, I think I may have found a family tree. So Global Force, and again, we'll get to it. They put out a video highlighting Desmond Xavier, and apparently he spent 3 or 4 years in the military. And it was revealed that his last name is Everhart. Now, that's not a very common last name. And we also know that one Jason Angle Jordan, Jaj, his real last name is actually Everhart. Now, I do see some kind of similarities in their jaws, like they both have very pronounced jaws. But, I mean, could it be that they're related? Like, not brothers, but maybe cousins?
Second or third cousin, something like that.
Like Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady kind of cousins. Like, they're not well, no, you laugh, but they're not cousins through their parents. They're cousins through their parents' cousins, I think.
Mm.
Something like that. So I don't know. It's kind of just one of those things. I'm like, I mean, like, maybe, like, I could kind of see it. I mean, shit. You look at Bo Dallas and you look at Bray Wyatt, and you're like, nope, not brothers. And then they're like, yep, definitely brothers. So I mean, like, who knows? So this week we're doing a little bit different because Well, there's just too many big headline news stories to ignore or give little time to. So what we're doing this week, we're suspending the top 10 for this week.
Yeah.
We will each pick a category on the back half of the show to talk about from Raw and SmackDown. But we got to talk about the leading story, which is Jeff Jarrett basically out at Global Force Wrestling. And it literally happened kind of like this afternoon. Like, apparently he went in around 9, and by 2 he had been let go. Now, they're saying indefinite suspension, or no, indefinite leave of absence. But the whole thing just sounds so much worse than it could be. Marcus, when you saw the initial headline, what was your immediate reaction?
I was like, Hubba, what? Like, I didn't know what. Like, it seemed like it came out of left field, and then I, obviously, because I get the news from our site, and, erratic behavior, talking about, him might possibly being out of shape and whatnot, and it's perplexing because this is not something you normally hear about Jeff Jarrett, and considering the fact that, his wife normally, keeps stuff kind of in line, you would think that, if something was going on, she might have been able to reel him back in or what have you. But you just never know. So, like obviously, Anthem, has their people and whatnot. And they kind of, I guess, assessed the situation and did what they thought was best. But it just feels like, from the outsider's perspective and a fan, it just seemed like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like my heart hurts from all this.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Jeff Jarrett guy. I've never kind of minced that. I've always taken ownership of that. I loved his vision, what he did with TNA in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. It's really paramount to what could exist in the world of wrestling if given the chance. He blended main event stars and up and comers flawlessly, and while sometimes you could argue he didn't always book the right guys at the top, that's debatable. It's one of those things for me though, where I always kind of believed in his vision and thought that we could have a true alternative. So to see all this kind of go down is disheartening, and I really don't know what to make of all this. I trust PW Insider. I do. I trust them about as much as probably more than I trust anyone else outside of my own sources. And even sometimes I trust them more than my own sources. And it's one of those things where I've always been, for the last 9 months, I've been very gung-ho about this Jeff Jarrett Global Force Anthem kind of conglomeracy. And now I don't know kind of what to make of everything. The whole gist of it basically goes that starting back in, what was it, May, or no, it had to be probably like around April or March, he blew up on Bob Ryder and sent him home for the day because of some kind of confrontation Karen and him got involved with. Karen and Bob. Then apparently there's some things that he took heat for from either the folks at Anthem or in various other locations. I don't know where or what. And it had to do with the Hardy fallout and all of that. But a lot of people are defending that, saying that he was just towing the company line. It was at Nordholm and blah, blah, blah. Then there are other stories now coming around about Triple Mania, which was already a shit show. And it was kind of revealed that Jarrett, he looked out of shape. That wasn't undeniable, but he was also 50. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, he looks fine for 50. He looks fine for a guy who's not actively wrestling every day. And I thought his whole spiel hanging around at ringside throwing tortillas at people was kind of just what he does, because a lot of foreigners go down to Mexico and that's their easy heat magnet. They had a dude who was pro-Trump. Brian Cage was pro-Trump. I don't think they're actually pro-Trump, but you go down there and it's easy to get heat with a lot of these things that we would dub, insensitive or racially insensitive. And in wrestling, that's there is no line outside of very few things that you wouldn't cross as a heel. Bully Ray was very disgusting in his kind of mannerisms in ECW and how he fired up the crowd, but he was someone people paid to see. And Jarrett was just like that. He was somebody people in Mexico would pay to see to get their ass kicked. So I didn't really take anything away from it, but apparently that wasn't how it was supposed to go. There were some issues with that. Could have explained why Jarrett and not Jarrett, while Moose and Lashley kind of did the thing that they did. Although it's also kind of being shown that it's also going to play into some angle now on Impact this week, so that might have something to do with it. So it's one of those things where there's some mounting evidence, but not enough that we would see as, on its own, shady. Jeff Jarrett getting mad at one of his friends for something that happened with his wife. That's something you could, you could see that happening. Jeff Jarrett not wrestling a lot and throwing tortillas at people. Again, it's something he's done before in Mexico, so it's not that, unexpected. So I don't really see what some of the issues are, at least publicly, because they have done a good job keeping it private. So I'm left wondering, what exactly is this? It doesn't feel to me like somebody who's lost control of their lives and needs to be, let go. It feels more like something is happening even more behind the scenes, and they're making Jarrett the scapegoat. I don't know. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to pass the buck for Jarrett. I'm saying if there was anything more relevant or pressing with Jarrett's behavior, I would have felt like we would have found out by now. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is. But some people are like spin masters and what have you, and some people are just good at covering stuff up. But I mean, I feel like if it would have been something huge that they couldn't help but get out, it would have got out by now. So
yeah, like if Jarrett was doing coke off of Ava Story's ass before every taping, I feel like we would know about this. Like it sounds a little outrageous, but like that's kind of like the stuff that we're thinking about when it comes to needed a break emotionally, like to be sent home because he was not out of control, but what was the wording that was used? Oh, I don't even remember now. It was just it exhausted, I think is one way to describe it. I don't know what exactly is going on with all of that. It's cantankerous at the moment. I've reached out to several, I won't number them, but several of the people that I know who know things, and they're all just kind of like doing, oh, I thought you would know something. And that's kind of the whole story. PW Insider has something basically saying that Jarrett got let go and that they're looking at putting Gaborik in charge momentarily, or at least as an aide of sorts to Ed Nordholm, who will be now technically running Global Force, which, hey, that worked perfectly fine when Dixie did it.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just give Jim Cornette all the power instead of that? Like, I prefer Cornette have free rank with his Cornette ness of it all than put Gaborik back. Like, people left the company because he was there.
Yes, exactly. And while Cornette may not be the most beloved individual, he at least has ran OVW. He's ran Smoky Mountain. I would feel safe with Cornette keeping the Jarrett vision in place. Now, again, we're speculating as to the reason why. It could be substance related. It could be he's having marital issues and it's bleeding into his work life. It could be that it's literally just he's up 22 hours a day working for Global Force trying to rewrite the ship that Dixie screwed up. It could be anything.
Overextended, yeah.
Yeah, he could be overextended. It could be something serious with Jeff Jarrett. It could be something minor with Jeff Jarrett. It could be something that doesn't involve Jeff Jarrett at all. I don't know. And that's kind of the thing that makes this whole thing so much more daunting to try to tackle, is that there's a lot of unknowables at the moment.
Yeah, and the reason why we, speculate so much, because it seems like every time, the company takes, 2 steps forward, it's like 4 steps back.
Yeah. And it needs to be something that we look at, honestly, because it's a major fucking story. Looking at this, I'm a little bemused by the whole thing, because it does open up a lot of interesting scenarios. Like, if Jeff and Karen are done, they still own the legal rights to Global Force and GFW, so it would probably be rebranded back to Impact. Okay. My head will hurt, but whatever. But the question then becomes, who do you turn it over to? I don't think having a non-wrestling guy in this position is smart. So I would honestly say that someone like Jim Cornette makes the most sense. Although I wouldn't necessarily go with Cornette because Cornette does have a tendency to rub talent the wrong way, and right now you're trying to bring talent in, not get rid of them. But I would keep Cornette. If you're gonna keep John Gabrick within 6 inches of you, I would keep Jim Cornette within 3 inches of you, because I would trust Cornette over Gabrick every day. I would either look at Scott D'Amore, who runs his promotion in school up in Canada, and Jeremy Borash. No two men know more about wrestling or this company than those two. Now, specifically, Scott D'Amore is a trainer and a head of a company, so you trust his vision. And Borash, while he's never ran a company, has been a part of WCW, World Wrestling All-Stars. He's done the ECW. It was an ECW documentary made independently in 2005. And, of course, his 16 years with GFW and TNA. If there's somebody who knows how to run a wrestling company, or at least you think should know how to run a wrestling company, it'd be Borash. He's been around for well over 20-something years.
He's been through every regime of that company.
Oh, yeah, everyone. So I would almost prefer them get a shot ahead of certain guys. Maybe you bring in Mike Tenay and have him maybe have a say. I don't know. I would get rid of Gabrick, though. Like, Gabru, I don't know. Just get rid of him. He didn't do anything last time. He actually didn't help things, so just get rid of him. Corny is an option, obviously. Dutch is an option, obviously, although I don't think Dutch has ever ran anything either. But neither has Borash, and I suggested him, so why the fuck not? Also, I would be talking to Gail Kim very intimately about asking her if she would like to have a hand in seeing where this company goes, because I would need, at this point, damage control, and I feel if Gail Kim does want to stick around past her wrestling career, someone like her to lead the knockouts in the women's direction and appealing to female audience members and viewers is almost a necessity, because it shows unity at a time of dissent. It's part of the reason why Christy Hemme always kept getting promotions within the company. So I would ask if she would be interested. I don't know what this is going to do for a lot of the situations that are going on, like the upcoming set of tapings, what Bound for Glory is going to look like, the knockout calendar, which they're busy shooting and looks fantastic, by the way. I don't know. It's a very kind of wonky thing. So it's going to be beyond interesting, because I don't know how this is going to shake out. I shouldn't even say if, when more gets found out about this, oh boy. It's going to be a shit show, because either Ed Nordholm is putting all the blame for all of his mistakes on Jeff Jarrett, and that's why he's gone, or Jeff Jarrett's been fucking up something bad, and that's why he's out. There's also a minor possibility, like a real minor possibility, that it is something to do with his personal life. Like, it's a romantic entanglement with his wife, and they're working through things, but while they're together, it's becoming incredibly hard. It could be something as simple as that. And if that's the case, I can honestly see Jarrett coming back.
Yeah, or God forbid, an illness, undisclosed illness with a kid they don't want to, talk about, or, something going on with his health that he might have been kind of ignoring and putting off, and, now having to realize it might be something more serious, and just not want to disclose right now. So.
Yeah, right now it could be anything. I'm hoping it's something of a emotional break over the stress of something at home, because you can come back from that. But if it's something like substance issues, or if he's just kind of gone off the deep end and gone, into Wackyville, it not only is his run with the company over, but his legacy will be tarnished as well. So, and I wish we could go to better news, but we're jousting from that, or juking, I meant to say, from that into the Sexy Star shenaniganry. So I feel it's important. Nay, I would say almost downright necessary to read exactly what this woman wrote. Because
Yeah.
this is one of the most mind-boggling things I have ever read.
This is not geared towards you, but I'm just holding both middle fingers at the screen.
So, by the by, whenever someone sends me a text, I always read the text in their cadence, like their voice in my head. So when you sent me that text today, I read it just like how you would say it, and I was just sitting there laughing in the middle of the the gas station that I was at, and everyone's looking at me like a total dorp. Sitting up here reading this sexy star letter, like, what in the blue hell is wrong with this woman? I was like, oh my god, I just read it like Marcus would say it. Ah. I had a good kick about that. This is a laugh I needed to have today. So let's get into this letter, because this letter is all kinds of stupid. The truth can wait. Only lies are in a hurry. All right, Donald Trump. For you, with all my love and honesty, by sexy star. First of all, I want to thank all the people that have stuck with me these last few days that have become a nightmare and one of the most difficult moments of my career and my personal life. Like some of you know, last Saturday on August 26th, I was present at the Triple Mania 25 event in Arena Ciudad de Mexico to participate in the championship match for the AAA promotion, who contracted me as an independent, so I could once again don the sexy star mask, the character I've used to work for 11 years. Now, I'm going to try to read this verbatim, folks, but she does kind of have choppy, or whoever translated this did it choppily, so it almost reads incorrectly, so just kind of bear with me. It's not as bad as her first one, though. Like, Jesus Christ, that was a shit show to read. In the beginning, I was informed that this Reina de Reinas championship would be one-on-one with one of the Mexican women that belongs to the promotion, but a few days prior to the event, I was told that that would include 2 more women, among them a North American woman that belongs to the promotion Global Force Wrestling, who was hired by AAA. To the best of my knowledge, I believe she's referencing to Hamada. Best of my knowledge. And as far as I know, she was never wrestled in Mexico, or at least for any Mexican promotion, and who I only met minutes before I went up to fulfill the match with which I was contracted for. Just as I have done for over 10 years, once I got the venue, I reached for the people that would be participating in the match to coordinate the show we would present to the public. Who speaks like this? The ones responsible for the event, Lucha AAA, were the ones that determined with precision what would happen in the match. Who talks like this? Just like I am accustomed, and especially when I am going to wrestle with someone who I've never worked with, and they being a foreigner, the wrestling style changes too much between countries. I especially approached the American. I asked if she felt alright with what we would be presenting, or if she wanted to change something so she could feel more comfortable in the ring. Those who have worked with me know that I always do this. The idea is to avoid any incidents with the people working with me as well as myself. I looked down. Oh, there it is. Not just due to the ethics, but for the values I have taught at the home growing up, which includes camaraderie. I've always been conscious of the danger of all of us that work in the wrestling face, but be it our first match or our 100th match, I want to make clear. Jesus Christ, that's longer than I thought. All right. Wow, this is a lot longer than I thought. I am not reading all this.
Yes, it's as long as it is stupid.
So basically, here's the long and the short of it. If you want to read it all, go to realnerdcorp.com. We have the entire thing right there. Basically, she says that I didn't do anything wrong. I was professional. I strolled up, asked her if she wanted to do the ending of the match. She said sure. I did the ending of the match. She claimed to be hurt, but she walked away just fine. No problem. No big deal. I heard she was hurt, so I approached her and saw her standing with an ice pack on her. I think she said her elbow or something like that. And I figured, oh, she's cool. No worries. So I left. Let's see. This is worth saying. You should also know that I have never been given any medical reports, and that x-rays do not exist to show any type of injuries on the person that I wrestled with. So she's saying because she didn't see the x-rays or the medical reports from Rosemary, that Sexy Star is basically saying, not my problem. I feel like Rachel Lee, what was her name? Rachel, the chick from Psych that Sean hooks up with in season 3 and 4. And she's all like, nobody, no crime, Sean. I feel like that's exactly what she's saying right
If
here.
I can see the blood better than your abdomen, you weren't shot.
I got shot. I'm looking at your face, but you weren't shot. It's in my leg. Yes, but I'm looking at your face, and there's no gun residue. You have not been shot. I am bleeding out from my leg, person. Like I am dying. She goes on to say that I wasn't worried about the situation. Skip a little bit, saying that she wasn't being attended by any medical personnel. She wasn't taken to the hospital. There was no medical equipment being used on her. Yet she mentions the ice pack, which is in fact medical equipment. She wasn't placed on a stretcher, which, I see all the time for elbow and shoulder injuries. A stretcher. Can you walk? Yes. What's wrong? My shoulder, not your neck. No, not your back. No, not your leg. No, my shoulder. Okay, we're going to put you on a stretcher. Why? Never in my life have I heard of that. So basically, she then goes on to say that she started to become a victim of cyber attacks on social media, and that she's been disparaged across all of North America. And she's claiming that the accusations that she likely dislocated her shoulder on purpose or that she broke her arm intentionally were false. And that she wants to make clear that the video being shared online only shows me personifying Sexy Star while applying the hold. Now, that's her way of saying that the reason why she was applying the hold the way she was, which caused the referee to physically break the hold, was all part of the show.
It's like I got paid to do a job. I showed up for the show that I got paid to do independently, portraying a character that I've been portraying for the longest. I did my job. Whatever this person is saying obviously didn't happen because they were obviously fine enough to walk away. And if you're really injured, you don't walk away from it. And anything that might have happened that was effed up, which I'm not saying that it was, I was in character.
This next paragraph, I need to read it verbatim because it's the most obnoxious and self-assured thing I've ever read in my life. This past August 30th, I reached 11 years in wrestling, a sport that I have given my life and my body, a body that is hurt because the sport, having a blessed career like I have, your body is not safe. I've always had respect for wrestling, respect that I put in from the moment I touched the body of my partners, which I've always taken care of without exception, and will continue to do so regardless of nationality or whether they know little or nothing about the sport. It gets better. I inherited that respect not only from my parents but from my teachers, people with dynasties in Mexican wrestling where this sport was born. And I'm sure my teachers can talk and prove that I've never taken liberties with any of my partners. So she's surmising that pro wrestling was born in Mexico. It wasn't. She's surmising that Rosemary knew little or nothing about the sport. And she's surmising that she's always had respect for her opponents and for wrestling, yet that's not true because she walked away from pro wrestling for a more lucrative career in boxing until that didn't pan out. So, care to spot the lie on that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't exactly go through the first statement she released. Did she kind of like dance around the fact that she effed up then, or did she kind of like allude to it? Because I felt like she might have alluded to it, but didn't outright say she messed up.
She never admitted to anything. She said that Rosemary's lying, that she is overblowing the totality of what happened, that Sexy Star is innocent, that she's a victim of harassment and bullying, and that if Rosemary knew what was going on, none of this would have happened. See you next Tuesday. Read the initials. Well, not really C, because that's more of an S, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm calling her a bad name.
This is, I guess Steve Austin, the Shark Boy, called her a piece of trash. But she thought she was blackballed before. She thought she was blackballed before. This is almost as bad, if not worse, than the actual initial offense. Because now it's like, nope, nothing to see here. I didn't do anything. She's taking the victim mentality and she's putting all the blame on the victim.
Now, last week, Zach and I said that a suspension, stripping her of the title, which has now officially happened. Earlier today, it was announced that AAA has stripped her of the title. Probably in response to the letter, basically like, shut up, lady. But we said last week that we didn't think blackballing her was the appropriate measure to go to. I am rethinking my stance this night. After reading that, after knowing how she feels about Americans, how she feels about Rosemary, the fact that she cannot accept responsibility for what she did, for the fact that she makes no mention of the fact that she was shooting on all three women at one time or another in the match. It shows me she's either like desperately in need of never looking at fault, or she's a sociopath.
Yeah, I was just about to say I that blackballer and get her some help because this reeks of like just deep mental selfishness to the highest order.
She's got some issues,
Yeah.
to say the least. I still like blackball. I thought really big to do, but I would definitely. Can you temporary blackball? Is there like a window of limitation? Like, can we all be like, hey, for the next 6 months, don't book her until she
I
gets some
don't,
help?
I don't know if you come back from this. I mean,
I
at most she'd have to come out and readily admit everything, and kind of say she was in a bad headspace, and she'd have to do some Hogan-esque stuff, or even like Michael Vick levels of rehabilitation in terms of just this, because it's like she seemingly blackballed herself with this letter. If she wasn't
That's
blackballed
true.
before, like I said, she definitely blackballed herself with this letter, because it's like there's nothing worse than throwing the stone. Everybody see you throwing the stone, and you come back the next day. Nope, I was never there. It's like, we have you on tape, you asshat.
Maybe this is all an angle, and she's going to announce herself as the illegitimate daughter of our current sitting president. Because they have a lot in common now with saying things that they claim they didn't say or do, so I'm just saying. If she had come out Sunday night or Saturday night, Sunday morning, and done the whole mea culpa, like, hey, I was in a bad headspace. I put Rosemary in an armbar. I was so jacked up on adrenaline. I was shooting on Lady Shiva, I think her name was. We weren't getting along. I took it out on Rosemary. I fucked up in the most unbelievable way. I ask for your forgiveness, Rosemary. I would have been like, shit happens. Rosemary's not walking away in a cast. Her neck's not broke and her livelihood's not taken away from her. We can just be done with this. But Sexy Star is routinely making it harder on herself to get out from this. I am flabbergasted that she's continually making it worse somehow. I didn't think that was going to be possible after the last in-public interview she did. Unmasked, by the way. So I am surprised, to say the least. I think putting the belt on Fabi Apache is the best bet for AAA, because she's a professional. She comes from a family of wrestlers. She's a phenomenal talent, and maybe we can get the fuck past this then. But I think Sexy Star just earned herself an immediate dismissal from AAA. So we'll see what happens with that. Is there any chance for this woman coming back?
Not in this particular industry. For me, I don't see how you don't rub everybody the wrong way. I mean, first off, even if she, like you said, did apologize in the way that you just kind of laid out, she still would have kind of, I think, in my mind, permanently rubbed some people the wrong way, because you're not supposed to step into that ring or any arena, in this realm of work, bringing your personal issues to work. You're not supposed to do it. And like I said, she really broke the cardinal rule of, because you have somebody's body and their trust in your hands, you just completely took advantage of that and could have possibly like really injured this woman and took food off her table for months. And yeah, now with this whole, it was all her fault. I didn't do anything wrong. From the tape, clearly I was in character. Da 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 da. Like, just a complete shitty version of a spin. It just reeks of hypocrisy and really is pathetic, to be honest. I just don't see how she bounced back from this. So, whatever she thought she was going to do in boxing, she might want to lean back towards that, or, might just be looking to another vocation, because I just don't see how you bounce back from this. And whoever employs her after this, that's on you.
It's one of those things where if she had just come up front and said something, I would be able to make a very strong case of why she should be forgiven, because guys like Cody Rhodes never ever said anything about JBL not being allowed in the locker room. JBL took more liberties with anyone in the ring than I know of. Same thing with Perry Saturn. Brock Lesnar. Well, actually, I should say Hardcore Holly, because Hardcore Holly actually sandbagged Lesnar on that. But there are numerous times I can point to somebody in proper headspace letting their ego, their emotions, their attitudes, what have you, get the best of them. Like, JBL's done it God knows how many times. So, like, for Sexy Star to do it once, I feel like if she had apologized, it could have been something that blew over. But to now make it into a blame game and to be like, nope, I'm the victim. It's like, but Chica, you ain't. And now you're making it unnecessarily worse on you. So it's a very interesting situation. So I promised y'all we would talk a little about WWE. Just a little bit. A little bit. Marcus, I'm going to defer to you. We will still have a green room segment this week. I just don't know what's going to be in it. What's your WWE moment from this past week that you want to talk about?
I guess we'll talk about the whole the Shane indefinitely suspended, that whole thing.
Okay, good, because that's not mine. I was afraid you're going to pick mine.
yeah, the whole thing. I mean, obviously we seen a bunch of promos where people work around between shooting and scripted and what have you, and we've seen Kevin Owens go to some depths, and I'm sure Shane being who he is, he never wants to kind of pigeonhole a performer, but Kevin Owens kind of went there. Obviously, Shane's gonna be sensitive about the whole kids thing, but when Owens went to a real situation, it was like everybody would have been better off you dying in that plane crash, which was legit. I was like, ooh, yeah. So him popping off on him the way he did physically, after that, you can't really blame him whether it was scripted or otherwise. And yeah, it's interesting because I guess next week we're gonna see the return of Vinnie Mac. So yeah, we all know what this is leading to. So it's just interesting that they kind of went that real route, because that was a real scary thing, and we could have legitimately lost Shane in that plane crash. So, and it's not like because it is a situation where somebody could have been like too soon, like kind of. So
Wasn't it a helicopter?
Yeah, helicopter.
The storyline's definitely a little bit too on the nose. Do you think that there's a possibility, though, that they kind of reworked it to include either the Ezekiel Elliott suspension, because the WWE does have a tendency to follow news stories in their own programming, or do you think it's a possibility that they wrote the segment in tonight to kind of mock Jarrett a bit, or is it just something that's completely coincidental?
I feel like it's coincidental, but I don't put it past them. I don't put it past them, because it does seem like something that is in Owens' character to kind of throw a hissy fit at first, and then because obviously we talked about it before, we feel like this is leading towards a match by all accounts. So, but it does. I mean, we've seen Kevin Owens be petty before just stepping up to the plate and handling it in a physical manner in the ring like you're supposed to, but. I don't put anything past these writers. I mean, these might be some of the same guys that came up with Natty's farting gimmick some years ago, so I don't put anything past them.
That was a great day for Natty.
She's come such a long way. She's champion now.
Yes, but the stench of her past gimmicks will never truly leave. Jokes! So my WWE moment actually coincidentally belongs with Raw. So I feel like we got the two big stories out of the way. One, I gotta point out, Cena's hair is actually looking thick for the first time in years. Rogan?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Right, he's starting to look like 2005 John Cena. Pump up those kicks, man. I miss those. I miss when he used to pump up his sneakers. Like, those were great.
Yeah.
But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the Braun Strowman Big Show cage match, and whether or not it was really anything worth talking about. Mostly because the match itself was fine, but it was the spot at the end that everyone was talking about, where Big Show put
Strowman put Show through the side of the cage.
Thank you. where Strowman put Big Show through the side of the cage and all that. Everyone's like freaking out about it. But honestly, I saw it as like one of the most rudimentary and really uninspired spots in a long time, because if you watch, Strowman kind of just put Show into the cage, and the cage door just fell over automatically, and Big Show landed like it was a trampoline. Now, granted,
Yeah.
Big Show is 300 plus pounds. He's got a bad hip. He's going to be needing surgery for it. I wasn't expecting him to get chucked like a cruiserweight. But could you not find a more impressive way to write off Show? It was a bad spot that everyone's really just overly excited about.
I don't see why they're excited about it. We've seen it before, and we've seen it better.
Right. I do have to give credit where credit's due, though, to the elbow drop.
Oh yeah, I give Big Show all the credit for him to still be doing what he's doing at his age, and as long as he's been taking. I mean, his bump card is extremely filled up, but for him to, like I said, be at this stage in his career, probably be in the best shape of his career, and to really go out there and put his body on the line like that for a younger talent, to put that talent over, you can't give anything but props to a guy like that. So.
And to think he was a protege of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, you need to put over the younger guy. No, brother, that ain't gonna happen. You're 102, Hulk. He's 28. We need to do it. Nope, not gonna do it, brother. Hey, Show, we need to put over this young guy. How young is he? About 8 years younger than you. All right, I'll do it. Really? Yeah, no issue. Little correction. Big Show did not do a diving elbow drop or a leaping elbow drop off the top rope in WCW. He may have done it on occasion, but it was never his finisher. The chokeslam was always his finisher, and a bear hug. So I don't know what Booker T was on last night. However, Big Show was known to do a drop kick from the top rope. In fact, I think he did it to more than a few people. Kevin Nash, I remember he did one too. I remember him doing it to Hogan at one time too. But that may have been my dreams. So it was a very interesting week of Raw and SmackDown. Strowman's definitely the guy they're pushing on Raw now to be the guy. Would not be surprised to see him win in 2 weeks, 3 next week. When's the show? Marcus, when's No Mercy?
No Mercy is happening. Oh, this just makes me miss the game, by the way.
Oh, that's a good game. Still a WCW NWO Revenge guy myself.
Oh, yes.
Getting to play as Booker T was always fun for me.
Yes, that will be taking place on the 24th.
Is that SmackDown or Raw? I feel like that's SmackDown.
Yeah, that's Raw.
Okay. So, wow, we actually have a long time for it.
Yeah.
So in 3 weeks, I do expect to see Braun Strowman with the big red belt, mostly just because of how they're booking him. I don't think they would be putting this much time and effort into somebody that's just going to lose to Brock Lesnar. Now, that being said, he could easily beat Brock Lesnar and not win the belt. Happens before, so why the fuck not?
This is true. And oftentimes WWE would rather play it safe than, try something new. So
Typical. So let's talk about the green room. What's in the green room this week, Marcus?
The green room this week, coming to the defense for wrestlers and kind of chastising fans a little bit. This whole thing with Sasha Banks. You even put it up in the news and on the site. This whole thing about her basically speaking out against fans who go above and beyond the Call of Duty to get a damn autograph. Sasha kind of alluded to in the interview, basically brought up the fact that she was being stalked by fans, getting to an airport at whatever 4 a.m. and have fans, standing out waiting, and then, her being smart, questioned the fact like, wait, how did you know I'm here? And then the fan basically telling them we asked the airport people basically for the itinerary of your arrival. And it's like, what the hell? So, she, basically saying that, she has no problem doing autographs and stuff for fans at the arena and what have you. But when it's, 4 a.m, you waiting for people out at airports, follow them around, follow them to their hotel, basically really plain old stalking them is wrong, and she, was right to call people out on that. I mean, we've heard wrestlers throughout the years talk about this numerous times, how certain people just really don't know how and when to approach people properly. Then you have people walking up on people. Obviously, you know this person as a wrestler for their wrestler character, and you calling them by their real government name, like you know them, trying to be quote unquote smart, pissing the person off even more so. So it's fans really just need to take into account of it, really be smart, like legitimately smart, and realize that these are people too. Just because they have this occupation that caters to fans, they're not catering to you 24 hours a day, and you really need to be mindful of walking up on people and really how much time is on your hands that you really standing out at 4 a.m. waiting for somebody to arrive at an airport. Like, this ain't Hall H. Like, this is a person. Nobody wants to be in the airport. These people travel damn near 300 days a year, whatever the legitimate number is, I don't know, but damn near 300 days a year, throwing their bodies around, hurt all the time. All they want to do is get home. They barely get to their actual homes for however many days out the month they're gone. So, yeah, fans, you just need to be better about how you approach these wrestlers, because when it's their personal time, it's their personal time, not yours, and you're not owed anything from these people. So,
first and foremost, I want to pimp out tomorrow's show because I just remembered this talking point, which we need to talk about. Wrestlecorp, 9 p.m. tomorrow. Baron Corbin, the voice of the voiceless. We going to dive into that. Completely forgot about. Like, that was going to be this week's like big brand banter topic, but news. Secondly, you're fucking spot on. Like, I hate this trash mentality that people have. Oh, I went and saw your movie. I bought your music. I watch you on YouTube. Oh, you gimme. Motherfucker, I don't owe you shit.
or the favorite line, I paid for your house.
Oh, that's always my favorite. If I ever get into a situation where someone says that to me, I'll be like, oh, you've spent $200,000 on things that involve me? You should get a life. Because that seems like too much money to spend on any one hobby. Totally not the reaction they're going to be getting, or expecting, but that's what they're going to be getting. And it's almost made even creepier that these airlines would be so ready to divulge information that should be protected. It's not all right for them. Like, it's one thing. All right, so like I understand that these planes are tracked all the time for obvious reasons, out of necessity. But that doesn't mean that somebody calls you. You just go, oh yeah, hey, you're looking for Sasha Banks or whatever her real name is. Yeah, she's on flight, whatever. Why? Why would you do that? No. And it's easily fixed. Just say that, like let's say somebody needs to get a hold of you. Put like a little credit cards have those little 3 letters on the back that you're supposed to like put in as the security code. Just put a random 4 fucking combo on a ticket and be like, hey, this is your ticket. Please let anyone that you may need to know that this is the number in which to identify you on if they need to get a hold of you or find out information. So they call in, hey, I need to find out where Sasha Banks is landing. Do you have the itinerary security number? I do not. Then fuck you. Right? Like, it's not that hard.
Exactly.
But the TSA is too worried about sticking fingers up asses. They don't need to be going there. So, of course, they're not going to be worrying about, simplistic changes to things that would actually improve the traveling experience. But I digress. I feel for Banks, I do, because she taps into such a, I don't want to say neglected audience archetype, but she does appeal to a broad number of people that kind of see her as, that symbol. It's almost that Beyonce, what's the word I'm looking for? The Beyonce, not syndrome, but it's this classification of a person as something bigger than just a person. You ever see people talking about Beyonce? They don't talk about her like a person.
Yeah, idol. Yeah.
Not even an idol. Like, we're talking like borderline like religious.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like Sasha Banks has gotten some of that demeanor because she does come across as the super sexy, confident, articulate, well-off kind of family girl. She's cousins with Snoop Dogg, and she's a great wrestler, good entertainer, good personality. She seems like a decent person, so she gets kind of bumped up this list because people want to be like her and be her. So she gets idolized almost to an unhealthy degree, and now you have these kind of things happening, and it's not. This isn't a situation either, folks, where it's like, oh well, women have it worse, because there are so many stories of dudes being involved in the same situation that are just horrific to hear. And who was it? Bliss or Banks once said, these people get mad when they find out that I'm dating somebody because they think they have a shot with me. And that's kind of scary. And when she said that, I was like, you never really think about it like that.
Yo, no, that is 100% true, and a lot of celebrities go through this, which is specifically in the music industry. Like even with women, I've heard a lot of female artists in interviews say that, their team or publisher or whatever will tell them to promote themselves as singles so they attract more fans for the appeal of it. And it's sad that they have to do that, but that's kind of how things are. So when Banks is in an interview and she says she kind of kept her marriage a secret because not only are people shitty and go after her guy for aesthetics or what have you, but they almost have this ownership of, how you can't be married, you're mine. And it's sick. And again, to preface all this, we're not saying all fans do this.
We're talking about the fans who do this, though.
This small pocket, minute of stupid idiots that mess it up for, actual good fans, because this can get to a level of these superstars not wanting to have fan interactions, period, just because of how stuff go. Like, because people really don't know boundaries and lines, and that's what this comes down to. And yeah, like you were saying, like it's real, because it's this ownership mentality that people have. This and well, I think Vince alludes to it a lot about millennials. They have this this
entitlement.
Entitlement. Perfect. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Entitlement mentality. And when you have that over a person, that speaks to a different level of mental instability that occurs. And unfortunately, these are also the fans a lot of times who will appear on almost every show. I don't know where they get the money, because these shows are not specifically these pay-per-view shows or what have you in the front row. These are not cheap seats.
Like Super Tan ECW guy.
Exactly.
I see you.
They have nothing else to do but stalk and push out money to be where these people are. And they a lot of times mess it up for the actual good fans.
Like, it's one thing, and I've mentioned her before, the young, beautiful black woman in the audience at Global Force. I rave about her. She's gorgeous. It's one thing if you live there and you just go there. It's no different than going to your local indie. Yeah. But it's another thing for you to go across country, like the Brock Lesnar dude. Dude's everywhere. What does he do for work? You can only get paid so much from the Brock Lesnar's here kind of video, and you're not even getting paid for that because when you buy a ticket, you sign a lease that says that any photo or video of you within the audience is property of the WWE, so he ain't getting royalties off that. So I don't know where the fuck he keeps popping up from. And it's not just wrestling; you see it everywhere. My birthday brother, Keanu Reeves, happy birthday. He got stalked to the point where on 2 separate occasions in the span of like 6 months, 2 different women broke into his house. Like, that's fucked up. And it's getting to the point where even paparazzi are making the biggest douchebags look like heroes. You see this fucking thing with Justin Bieber a few months ago? The dude was just trying to leave like some place, and like a paparazzo kind of got like nudged by his car because he stepped in front of it. So Bieber got out and to check on the guy, because apparently Bieber's no longer a shitlord of a human being. So like, hey, good for you, Bieber. Way to not be a shitlord. But as he's sitting there, like kneeling behind, like next to the guy, asking him if he's okay, if he wants, an ambulance or something, there's just people taking photos. No one's helping the other guy besides Bieber, and I'm like, how is Justin Bieber the best person in this scenario? Yeah. This is a whole new world we're living in.
Yeah, and that's a completely different conversation. We live in a world now where instead of helping somebody out of a shitty situation, you just wear the capture on tape.
Hey, YouTube. Hey, Daily Motion. World Star. Hey, we're coming. Yeah. Ugh. As a videographer, as a photographer, capturing moments is kind of something I'm keen for. But I'm talking like that sweet shot where you get the right angle of that right football player getting right underneath the defender, and he's falling off him as he runs. Like, oh, it's good stiff arm. But like, if the kid breaks his neck, I'm not gonna be like, oh, look at him, he's dead. Oh, let's get the photos. I would put the camera down and go over and help because I am a human being and I care about human life. Like, fuck, y'all are some jaded bitches.
And I hope Banks went off on that airline. Whoever gave her information out like that.
Oh, I would. Ooh. I don't like exposing employees for doing dumb things. I feel like that's like the dick move of the modern era. This is Becky from customer service. She's a cunt. You know, everyone hate Becky, man. It's like, oh, what the fuck did Becky do? You don't even know. But like, I would like to know the name of the person who basically, you know, put me in danger because I'd like to have a conversation with her as to why she thought that was an okay thing to do. But then again, we're also, you know, we don't know how much was given away and what exactly specifically was given away. Arrival times and departure times for flights and the flight numbers are basic knowledge. Like, you can call and be like, hey, when does the flight from Boston come in to Santa Fe? 8:10. Okay, cool. And if you're due diligent enough, you could probably track the plane yourself. So I don't know how much the airline had to do with it, but you never know. You never know. This whole show just kind of feels like one big giant reason why we should just fucking stop and live a hole. Let's just live in a hole. Start renting DVDs from family videos or whatever we have left and just leave the internet. What happened to Chad and Marcus? Oh, they left the internet. How'd they do that? They're basically living like it's 1995. That sounds super boring. And oh, by the way, I just realized something. I was watching Civil War. Not Civil War. Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, outside of the obvious physical appearances of them two and us two, I really do feel like you're Captain America and I'm Falcon. Right? Like, you're like the super, like, oh, yeah, let's do the right thing and be, you know, respectable. And I'm all like, fuck you, here I come, bitches!
Oh yeah. When he ducked on the that was that cool movie did now. Like, oh yeah. That was great.
Don't you pass me! Don't you pass me! My only complaint with those two is that I don't like that Falcon suit is just kind of like generic mechanical stuff. I grew up on like the cool like what would you call it? Like the cowl, the white cowl that comes up over his head and his hair was kind of flowing in the wind. He had this cool like vulture like wings on his wrist. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
So it didn't improve to you when it got to Civil War.
It improved a bit because it definitely got more of the red. Because like I grew up on him being white and red, like his costume, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. He's the only, like he was the only reason I ever bought Captain America comics. I was like, oh my god, it's Falcon. But like he looked so generic in the movies. I was like, oh, still better than Steel. I found a Steel action figure unopened in my house, and I was like, why does this abomination exist? Because I had like old school, like straight up Superman Steel action figures as a kid. I had the one where you squeeze his legs and he would slam the hammer into the wall. I was like, that's so cool. And then I had one where it was like super chrome and silvery and shit, and he was like shiny, and he would shoot hammers from his wrist. I was like, that's so cool. But those were based off the comics. And then I have fucking Shaq over here ruining my childhood. Fuck you, Shaq. I still want my money back from Shaq Fu. That game was awful. Dude, seriously, oh my god. Oh, it gets hitting me hard. Shaq is the Hulk Hogan version of NBA merchandise.
I don't like to acknowledge the fact that he ever acted, but then it's like when
Kazam was okay.
Yeah,
I won't say it's great, but it was okay.
Like when he's in something and he's been himself, it's fine. But anything past that is like, please, can we go to commercial, please?
Wasn't he in what was that Ray Allen movie? Where it was Jesus? No, was it Ray Allen? Jesus Shuttleworth? What was that? He Got Game? Was Shaq in that one? Because there's two movies that came out in the mid-'90s that both starred around active, actual NBA players, but they were like college kids. One had like Shaq and somebody else, and then one had Ray Allen. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like Blue Chippers. Is that what it was?
Wow, looking at his Blue Chips, 1990.
Yeah. 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was him and who was it? There's a bunch of players in that game, in that movie. I think Larry Bird was in at one point. It was Penny Hardaway. That's who I'm thinking of. It was Penny Hardaway and Shaq, for actually current teammates, I think, at the time. I don't know which one I like better. I don't think I like either, but yeah, they're all right. I like Penny. Penny was a cool dude. Dude, greatest fucking mascot ever, Little Penny. Just Chris Rock as a marionette puppet yelling at people. What? Why isn't that still a thing? They need to bring back those LeBron and Kobe puppets. That's the best we had since then. And even those weren't great, but they were all right. Alrighty, that'll do it for the show this week. Be sure to follow Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParaDoxKid.
That's me.
Okay, I was like, did I misspell that? He's also on WrestleTalk.tv if you want to follow his Impact recaps. And Ali Davis. Ali's always he's like a labradoodle. He's always so happy to be talking about wrestling news from 3 days ago. Here's breaking news. Sexy star injures Rosemary. Dude, this happened a week ago, bro. Come on. You can also find him on the website, obviously, at realnerdcorp.com. All of his links are right there on the side. You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp. Same handle as my Instagram. The website, realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp. It has its own Twitter at NerdCorp. It's NerdCorp without the real. It's less real. It's fake NerdCorp. We will be back tomorrow night, or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, at about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mixlr.com/NerdCorp, or you can listen to it live on the website at realnerdcorp.com. So, for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porto. Thanks for listening. Next week, we'll get back to our regular scheduled format, there we go, of our top 10 WWE moments of the week. I apologize, but I really don't care. So, Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.